to exercise 15.2 from counts is asking us to write a method called fromCounts, and it's going to construct and return a new ArrayIntList of values given an existing ArrayIntList of counts. And that's going to be our element data ArrayIntList right here. We can assume that the ArrayIntList that is passed as a parameter stores a sequence of integer pairs that each indicate a count and a number. This means that we can always assume that there's going to be like even number of elements inside of here. And then we're given an example, so if you don't understand it so far, you can read through this example. If you do, let's start coding. You can see that I already have public ArrayIntList from counts because we're returning an ArrayIntList and the name is from counts. We have no parameters and we have to make a new ArrayIntList in here so that we can return our result. Speaking of return, let's go down here and end this method because eventually we're going to have to, and then we can have a return result because that's the ArrayIntList we're going to want to return. Now, what other operations do we have to do inside of here? Well, first off, we want to run through this entire ArrayIntList, which is going to be our element data. That way we can look at every single value. So we're going to start this off with a for loop. For int a is equal to 0, a has to be less than our size, and we're going to do a plus plus. So this is going to run through our entire for loop initially. For our inner for loop, I'm going to say we have b here, and b is going to be equal to 0 as well. Essentially what we want to do is we want to find out this value, so we need to get the index and get this value, and we want to run our b, this for loop, less than that because we are wanting to print whatever this is this many times. So we are going to say we have b less than element data at a, because a is determining how many is going to be printed out with the value at that index, which means this should be plus equals to 2 because we want to skip over 1, right? We're going to have 0, and then we want to have it at the second one, and then this fourth one, and so on and so forth. So that's how we're going to have this outside for loop. And then inside of here, we're going to have b plus plus. That way we can just increment it one by one every single time so we can eventually print out 5. Now what we're going to want to not print, store in a result, the result.add is going to be this value, and we're going to do it b many times. So we're going to say result.add this value. How do we get that? Well, we can't use b because b is incrementing every single time. If we look at a, it's going to be this index. So what we can do, since it's more stable, because if it's 0, this next one is 1, we can just say we have element data, and we're just going to have a plus 1 in here. And this checks out because if we then go through this outer for loop one more time, a is going to be equal to 2. Well, 0, 1, 2, a is 2 here. We need to print out -5 twice. It's going to be a plus 1 again, and this works for that, and it'll work for the rest of them as well. So that's the logic behind this method. If you have any questions, as always, you can leave them in the comments below. It'll pass the 1 out of 1 test. That's the code for this problem, which is going to finish off our section of 15.2 from counts and really collections. That's the main part of this implementing a collections class. That's the important part, to understand that we're implementing methods into our class. That'll be it. Check out the playlist for linked lists now. These are super fun.